Hey, this is Justin. It is Thursday morning, just finishing up one more set in the gym. 4, 5, 6, 7, one of those gym bro guys. And then going for the walk and talk for the morning activities. I wanted to talk about this morning habit forming and relationship building and like how we can do small things each day that start to build on our habits and then actually start to build relationships. And then like how do those start turning into actual results on the board and things where we can get done. So my main focus has been on putting as much into morning routine as walk and talk to get through most of the results during the day. When I was younger, there was a campaign saying that we do more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day. For those of us that are early morning people, and that's probably usually the case for me. How my day typically works is 5:30 to 6:30. I get to the gym. I do walk and talk. I do most of my main recording. Then a little bit of focus or a lot of focus on some family time, getting my son up and ready to get moving for school. Spend a little time with them, like walking off to school. It's literally a little time because we used to walk together. Now, as they're starting to get older, it's I pass them as I'm walking the dog, and we do a little bit of fist bump and a little bit of a catch up. But yeah, getting my son up. My daughter's pretty self-sufficient. Sometimes I walk with her to the train, but the whole time also I'm walking my dog, doing some recording, and doing some recordings of these streams. So what the routine looks like so far, first thing I do is I do a check-in with my mom in the morning, which is a hello, just a quick good morning message. That's the how to stay connected to get the day started and get stay connected throughout the day. Then I go to the gym for a quick workout to get started, then immediately start on the walk and talk, which is just a live stream. Takes about 22 seconds to get set up on the stream and to get it set up, and then go for the long walk. And then this is in service of creation of creation of content. It's in service of creativity and figuring out what ideas that we get out there. So there is a side benefit that other people can witness the process, which is something that's very important for me to learn about people's processes and what they're actually doing in reality. So my attempt is to be able to capture all of sort of the ugly work, the nasty work. I wouldn't call it nasty, but the working it out before it actually gets good piece. And that's what these live streams are in the morning. I also I put on a mic on my t-shirt, and I fire up the voice notes app on the Apple Watch. So all of it gets captured because there's what gets created out in the world, and then there's the verbalization or the capture of the side notes that go on the back end. After this, I'll do a check-in with my coach on Yak. Then I'll do a health check-in on Loom with my health coach. And then I'll do one of two things at that point in time. It's depending on how good my systems are for the things that we got to accomplish today. So for instance, I've got a couple of meetings today that I've got to do some prep work for, and then I got some follow-up items from work. So I know what needs to get done with those. I know that they're pretty, they're not that controversial. They're, it's just a matter of putting some data together, sitting down for a little while and getting those things. So I feel pretty good about that. I do have two. I've got one meeting that's a face-to-face later on today, and then also I'm doing some volunteer work this evening. So that is that is a little bit of a logistic challenge, kind of moving back and forth. So I won't be doing a lot inside of the de-stressing around workflow for the day piece today. So we'll probably do some more of the creation stuff, which will be some interactions with ChatGPT. That's been one of my favorite things to do. Just start spinning up some ideas, sort of inside the concept of ideas to reality. Actually just talking to ChatGPT and asking questions and starting to work through some of the stuff that we've got. As far as task management goes right now, I go back and forth between a couple of different things. I'm using the timelines method and I've got to give credit to the creator of the timelines method. I can see his name, but that's in workflowy. So basically, everything that's got to be done exists sometime in the future, because the real challenge with task management stuff is it's great. I go and sit down today and I was like, oh, here's the things that I want to get accomplished today. And then life and over planning and or under planning or changes come into place. And then I come in tomorrow and I've just got a huge backlog of stuff that didn't get done today. And there's two reasons that things typically don't get done. Number one, they're not that much of a priority, or number two, they're overwhelming. So, or they're not overwhelming, they're not broken down into a small enough task that they can be executed. Those are the two reasons, at least, that I don't necessarily get some stuff done. So what happens is, like with most of those systems, you come in the next day and you're like, oh, well, I'm overflowed with stuff that is not important and or is very hard to do, and there's no room for moving anything forward. So you almost need to start with a blank sheet of paper every day. The Microsoft To Do app does that great. It just creates a big backlog and starts you off with a blank sheet of paper. The challenge of starting with a blank sheet of paper is you got to do the work to get that blank sheet of paper into some of the creations. The timeline method starts to summarize some of those items, and I capture too much, so it results in, like, if I look at yesterday, I probably have about 12 items that carried over from yesterday that are on the list, right? So I can fold those up into one summarized bullet point and then start to move forward in some of the other things, other things today that are more reliable and predictable. So the name of the game is, how do we start making stuff a little bit more habitual? Okay, so now our to-do list our project list, they become a little bit more of a challenge. So I've sort of looked at the creation, like my life management, so in relationship management. And the name of the game 99% of the time is, how do we make deposits into relationships, right? How do we build relationships? And there's a couple of different things that we can do. Like there's the traditional, I had a friend of mine is starting a business. We had a conversation yesterday, which is a great conversation, about some of the stuff that he was doing, and that is a mutual, like, deposit and relationship, sitting down and connecting. The challenge with that is, one, it's got to get scheduled. It's got to get it's got to get scheduled. You got to be at the same place at the same time, and hopefully have enough rapport in the relationship that it is, like, positive. And that was a great conversation, but it took a couple of hops to actually get there, from scheduling and rescheduling and then connecting, and then making sure everybody's in the right energetic mood to be able to get there. So what I prefer is those sort of micro asynchronous connection, and that goes everywhere. I think Adam Grant did a post that I saw, I'm not sure when he did it, talking about pebbles, which are just little, like little shares with people that are be like, hey, hey, you're on mind. Don't necessarily want to distract you from what you're doing. You don't necessarily need to respond back to this, but it is just a little bit of like a, hey, I'm paying attention. I see you. You're a human being, and this is, you're a human being, and then let's start connecting. So that there's those, and then there's the actual, virtual connections, which require people to be in the same place at the same time. And then there is the digital connections, which is a whole new game. I'm probably digitally connected to anywhere between 50 and 100 people every single day. Those are those are text messages back and forth. Those are audio message, and it goes everywhere from with the kids, and sending over money or connecting, finding out, just checking in, finding out where they are, making sure they're moving forward on the stuff that they need to move forward on. We have my daughter's going on a trip in a week and a half, and we've got to do some ordering of, we got to order some clothes and order some stuff, during that. So making sure she's doing like her piece on that, and then staying connected, letting them know when I'm going to be at home. So that's like, people that are tight with the family. I've got to work through things with my wife, or just like everywhere from, what are we doing for dinner, to, hey, we've got to take care of, some long-term financial planning stuff that's coming in. So those are like, those things typically happen over text message. There's the light touch, hey, just in general, hope your day is going well. Sharing over, sharing a couple of different things, being like, hey, proof of life, making sure you're okay, making sure that I'm okay. To some specific, like, in the moment, hey, can you answer this question, or let's make plans for this type of thing. So those, and then the text messages are typically the ones that are kind of more regularly in life, and then there's the other digital, which are sharing voice notes back and forth on a particular platform, and that's a little bit more of a project-oriented, committed type of relationship. Is that I use a couple of different ways that I do that. Number one is I share if it is like you know, hey, working out here, hey, we're working out some of the ideas, or check-ins. I do that over Yak. You can also Voxer is a audio voice notes tool, and that's great because that's asynchronous. You can create it where you can create it. It doesn't take a huge amount of overhead to be able to create it, and then it can get consumed on the back end. The other thing I use is shoot Loom videos. If that's kind of more of like a, hey, I want you to see what I'm doing. I just do a screen grab on my phone when I'm doing the Loom videos. This is like a little bit of like teaching and walking through some of the stuff that we're walking through, or I want to share a piece of information. And then if I want to get an idea across, and typically a lot of my ideas are, a bunch of words that need to come together into something meaningful. If I want to get an idea across, I use Clef Notes, which does a great job of starting to summarize the different idea. And then if I'm working out something in my head, or if I got like a specific question or a general question on something, like I was asking about some of the campaigns, some of the people that are running for office in our neighborhood. So I just, ask some general, ask some questions about what the differentiators are, and had the conversation on, had the conversation on my time. And with ChatGPT, I was able to ask as many "quote unquote" stupid questions as possible. And I think as a side note, what AI is really great for is not not judging the questions that are actually being asked, asking the questions with an assumption of positive intent on the back end. So I'm just looking at different ways. Thinking about it. Most people, I don't know if most people do 50 to 100 type of, probably do 50 to 100 types of small connections each day. But looking for ways to be able to capture those, to really make sure that we're able to keep in relationship with the people in our lives, making sure everybody, to some extent, and it's not my job necessarily or my commitment, that everybody, that I'm personally in touch with everybody on the planet, but it's definitely a personal commitment that everybody at least has somebody they can reach out to and to stay connected. Because typically it feels like when things aren't going in the right directions, typically some sort of human connection, or I won't say all the time, but a lot of times some sort of human connection can start to solve some of those challenges. So I'm going to leave that one there for right now. Appreciate anybody who's listening live. If please leave me a direct message with any sort of feedback, or if you'd like to come on live and have any conversation, would be happy and glad to do that. We'll work on the mechanism to make it easier for people to come on live. The goal is impromptu, unscheduled. These sessions are somewhat happen during the 6 o'clock hour on most days, but they really are unscheduled, and happen after I wake up in the morning, after do the regular workout, and then get started. So thanks a lot for listening, and have an amazing day.